Have you ever really thought about how a t-shirt made in a factory in Bangladesh finds its way to a store shelf in Brazil? It's not just about container ships and airplanes. Nope. There's this huge, powerful, and honestly, mostly invisible network that makes global trade actually happen. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the growing business relationship between Brazil and Bangladesh to show you how successful global trade really gets done. Let's dive in.
So let's say you've got a fantastic product and you see a massive opportunity in a market on the other side of the planet. Now what? Seriously, what's the very next step? How do you bridge that enormous gap between a great idea and a real physical shipment arriving in a foreign country? It's right there, in that gap, that most international plans, well, they fall apart. And we're talking about huge stakes here. This number, that's over $55 billion, is what Bangladesh is expected to bring in from exports in just 1 year. When you're playing at this level, finding the right connection or getting a slightly better deal, that can mean millions, sometimes billions in new business. The potential is just enormous. So what's the real hurdle? It's not just about having a great product anymore. The real challenge is navigating this incredibly complex global system. You're basically in a race against competitors from all over the world to get through a maze of rules, find partners you can actually trust, and close deals faster and with way more confidence. You know, this is where we need to upgrade our whole idea of what infrastructure even means. It's not just about ports and highways. In today's market, the most critical infrastructure is all about speed and trust. Knowing who to call, knowing how to cut through the red tape, that's what gives you a real tangible edge. Okay, so what happens when a business tries to jump into this complex world all on their own? Well, they almost always slam into the same 5 roadblocks. Let's walk through these chronic problems that can totally sink even the most promising international ventures.
First, you've got information gaps. These are the unknown unknowns. You don't even know what you don't know about a new market. Then there's the trust deficit. I mean, how can you be sure that company you found online is for real? Coordination costs start piling up. All that time and money you burn just trying to find the right people. Policy friction. Ugh, that's that mountain of paperwork, tariffs, and customs rules that can grind everything to a screeching halt. And finally, the big one. Just finding partners who actually get your vision. Any one of these can be a total deal breaker.
If these problems are so universal, there has to be a better way, right? Well, there is, and it's a really powerful tool that's been around for a while, but is probably more important today than ever before: the Bilateral Chamber of Commerce.
So, what in the world is a bilateral chamber? Okay, think of it like this. It's a nonprofit run by businesses for businesses, and it has one laser-focused mission: make it easier for companies in 2 specific countries, and only those 2, to do business together. They're basically the ultimate matchmakers and fixers for international trade.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. This is the core of what they do. They take that terrifying leap of faith into a foreign market and turn it into a smart, manageable, step-by-step process. They give you a playbook and a whole team to back you up.
I love this analogy. Think of them as a trusted bridge. On one side of the river, you have all these individual companies, like yours, and on the other side, you've got government agencies, complex regulations, and all those potential partners in another country. The chamber? It's the bridge that connects it all, allowing trust, information, and, money to flow smoothly back and forth.
But, and this is a big but, not all bridges are built to last. It is absolutely crucial to know the difference between a chamber that's a real engine for business and one that's, well, little more than a social club. So let's look at what makes a chamber truly effective.
Okay, here's the difference. On the left, you have an active chamber. This is a service institution, a corridor builder, a platform designed to produce measurable results. On the right, you have a passive club. They might organize some nice dinners and networking events, but there's not much commercial substance. The real difference is whether the focus is on doing business or just talking about business. So how do you spot one of the good ones? Well, a really effective chamber creates a win-win for businesses in both countries. They don't just throw everyone in a room. They have a structured, deliberate matchmaking process. When they advocate for you, they use hard data, not just talk. They also help their members get export ready. And importantly, they're digital first, so their services are available whenever you need them. Okay, enough theory. Let's make this super concrete. We're going to zoom in on a specific real-world example, the Brazil-Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or BBCII, and see exactly how they're putting all these ideas into practice. So here's a quick snapshot of what trade looks like between the two countries right now. Brazil sends a lot of things, like sugar and cotton, to Bangladesh. In return, Bangladesh exports a lot of ready-made garments. But as you can see, it's pretty imbalanced. Now, this isn't a problem. It's an opportunity, a huge one. And it's exactly the kind of situation where a chamber like BPCCI can be a game changer, helping Bangladeshi companies crack that massive Brazilian market.
And if you look at their mission statement, it lines up perfectly. Their whole reason for being is to facilitate trade by providing a platform, sound familiar? That's that trusted bridge we were just talking about, where businesses from both countries can connect, learn, and fight for their shared interests. So, how does BBCI actually solve those 5 chronic problems? It's incredibly targeted. To deal with the trust deficit, they organize curated one-on-one B2B sessions. To close those information gaps, they give you detailed market intelligence reports. They fight policy friction by talking directly with policymakers. And they crush those coordination costs by organizing entire trade missions. For every single barrier, they have a practical, hands-on solution. So, after all that, let's bring it home. Why does any of this matter to you? To a business owner, an exporter, maybe an investor? What's the real bottom line here? Here it is. Joining an active chamber like this gives you a massive strategic advantage. You get networking that's systematic, not accidental. You get intelligence that helps you make better decisions. You get a powerful, collective voice fighting to knock down barriers for you. It lets you turn a risky bet into a planned, confident expansion strategy. You're not just paying for a logo on a website. You are investing in a direct corridor to growth. So we'll end on this thought. Your next big partner, your next huge market, it could be thousands and thousands of miles away, in a place you've never even visited. The only question is, who's building the bridge to help you get there?